I wanted to bring you an update on the madness that is setting in Melbourne. Melbourne in Australia is now under the most draconian lockdown I think we've seen anywhere since Corona and the nonsense around Corona began. They have just introduced measures for 6 weeks, which will be the most stringent and make effectively Australian people prisoners in their own home. There will be a curfew between the hours of 8 p.m. and 5 a.m. You're not allowed to go further than 5 kilometres from your own home. You're only allowed out for an hour a day. You are not allowed to go to the supermarket in twos. You are not allowed to go to work. All schools are going to be shut. All childcare are going to be shut. You are not allowed to have visitors to your home, and you're not allowed to go to someone's home unless you are specifically giving or receiving care. You have to stay within your main place of residence. You're not allowed to get out of Melbourne and go somewhere else. They intend to shut all businesses, all services, all warehouses, all construction. Everything is going to go. And the reason for this, or the reason being given for this, is because of 7 deaths in a 24-hour period. Now let's have a look at those deaths and the numbers behind them. 3 of the individuals that died were over the age of 70. 2 of the individuals that died with or from Corona were over the age of 80, and 2 were over the age of 90. So 70-year-olds, 80-year-olds and 90-year-olds dying with or from Corona. So maybe they had pre-existing conditions, they were 90 years old and they died, but Corona was in their system. They're counted as a Corona death, and they're the reason that Melbourne is now making an entire state prisoners in their own home. Think back now to the reasons you were given for lockdown. You were told it was to flatten the curve. You were told maybe it was to save your health service. Maybe you were told it was because of the R number. Maybe you were told it was because we needed to stop the spread. This lockdown and this state of emergency has been declared because 7 individuals over the age of 70, potentially with pre-existing conditions, died. So what is this now? Now we're locking people down because someone died? Is that good enough as an excuse? And let me ask you one other question. When you went to a polling booth last and you marked your cross in the box for a politician, did you think you were voting for a personality perhaps, or were you voting for policies? Or were you voting for a government that had complete control over all aspects of your life? Were you voting for a government that could lock you down? Were you voting for a government that could make you a prisoner in your home, destroy your business, take away your ability to pay for your home, your mortgage or your rent? Were you voting for that kind of government? Because that's what you got. And Melbourne will not be the first. This is a test case for how much control they can have over you and how much freedom they can take away. Remember, they told you it was about flattening the curve. Now it's about stopping 90-year-olds dying from Corona. Ask yourself, where does this all end up?
Hey everyone, I'm here at Morris Medical Center with my dad, Dr. Daryl R. Morris II, D.O. He has some things he would like to share and bring attention to in regards to how politics is affecting the medical world right now.
Yeah, there are 3 things right now mainly politicized in this, especially during this coronavirus pandemic situation. One is here in Florida, they've already exposed 40 or more labs that are doing COVID testing that are in fact faking the results. They're reporting 100% positive result ratios, which is just statistically impossible. 2 of the labs that have already been audited, it turns out instead of 100% positive, they were coming out at less than 10% positive. So this is political, ridiculous motivation, insurance fraud. There's all kinds of illegality going on here. One of the other points I'd like to touch on is in Florida here, they're reporting that we don't have enough hospital beds, and this is completely not true as well. What happened is a few months back, the hospitals here had massive layoffs because they were slow and business was just slow. And due to not being able to do elective procedures and things like that. And so they are running, many of them at 50 to 60% staffing capacity. And the real stats are that there are more than enough beds. What there is not enough staff. So they may be full to capacity based on the number of staff members they have working, but they don't have a full staff working. So those numbers are being manipulated as well. And lastly, regarding the treatment of COVID-19, yesterday and the day before, there were many doctors who had a press conference in Washington, D.C. about their successful treatment of the virus. One particularly has treated over 300 patients in the Houston area with diabetes, hypertension, and COVID positive, and with massive success treating with hydroxychloroquine, zinc, and the protocol with Zithromax, which is having good success in many practices across the country. But physicians are being shouted down, and the media is not carrying it because it's not the mantra of what turns out to be the left media. It is clearly a hit on trying to hit on the president here. And those videos showing those physicians who were having successful treatment with that protocol has now been deleted from Twitter and Facebook, which you all probably know are left-leaning organizations. And that's just censorship and restricting the information flow in the United States. In our practice, I've written that same protocol for many of my patients that are at risk, and the local pharmacies have refused to fill my prescription. I've had many patients on Zithromax or hydroxychloroquine for many years because I also treat lupus. And for 20 plus years, they've been on that medication with no side effects, no trouble whatsoever. And so there's no reason to not utilize that protocol if it's indicated. And not letting that information freely flow and refusing to utilize those protocols, which are having success in other practices, is just criminal. And so with that being said, we'll turn you back here to Shelby Joe.
If you want to hear more, tune in to 92.5 FM radio, Fox News, to hear Straight Talk with Doc Morris this week.